Hello, guys, and welcome back. We are having again some video today for a discussion of one of my current deck project that I've been playing for the local tournaments here in my area. So this reference build, we're just going to talk how it's kind of be like a maybe tier 2 choice for a standard metagame, but still I think this would still be a very fun aggro deck to consider if you're not really going with the usual popular decks. So we have here the Boros Convoke. So this is already some sort of a previous rotation mechanic. It is also having this version in the Pioneer format. But today, let's take a look. It's of its current build with the Aetherdrift set. The somewhat, I think, has made this deck more efficient. That's why I kind of like looking for this one rather than the Jeskai Convoke, which is also another popular version. So let's take a look at this build. We have 29 creatures. Let's check some other subs. 5 enchantments, 22 lands, of course, and 4 sorcery. With the 15 card sideboard. The usual stuff where in this deck would really function out would be these creatures. Knight Errant of Chaos, Warden of the Inner Sky, and this is your Absolute Reinforcements. So what, as I mentioned, what has made this deck more very consistent in its somewhat turn to Knight of Errant of Chaos play is because of this new addition from Aetherdrift. This is the uncommon nesting bot. So this is a 1 mana cost white mana artifact creature robot for a 1/1 with its ability that you can start your engines. And when it dies, you will be able to create a 1/1 colorless servo artifact creature token with a max speed effect that gets this 1+1+0. The good thing here is that if you get to target this, so it dies, it will create or replace itself, is when you use discard Default Demolition and its artifact as a target. So you get to destroy it, you get to create 3 Perch and Goblin creature tokens, and the servo token will be again generated, making you still having to have a 4 creatures on board, which you can pay on the extra mana to convoke this creature Knight Errant of Chaos. So in a way, you can either have this several 1 mana creatures that can be producing effects to produce a target for your Gleeful Demolition. So with this inclusionist deck, that's why I said that it's beginning to be a more up in its deck build and in terms of consistency and mana curve per se. So along with that one, we have of course Novice Inspector with 4 copies, because the clue token would be still with the target to its deck. And another option that we have considered here is the copies of Clockwork Percussionist. So this card is also a good target for the Lethal Demolition, but also gets you a bonus to exile the top card of library, and then you can play it until the end of your next turn. It acts as an extra hand, wherein you can just put out these cards, destroy it, and then it dies, so get to exile. At times you might reveal some of the other spells, such as maybe an Knight Errant from your top card library, and you get to play it on that turn. And along with that curve for the 1-drop, of course, we have options for Yorion Frontliner, which will also be good target to Gleeful, because you can be able to unearth it later on, and also gets you bonus ++1 whenever it attacks for your another target creature you control. So basically, you can see here the curve for the 1 mana lineup would be 15 1-drops, and along with your support creatures in the form of Spell Reinforcements, of course the hard-hitting card, which gets you good attack, even Executor, and at the same time can be used to train troops in the late game, as well as the support of these 2 copies of Sanguine Evangelist, which Battle Cry effect can also be good, especially in this token creature route or gameplay. So with this kind of lineup, we have these enchantments that act as a these wall pump effects, and at the same time spot removal in its basic settings. So we have 4 copies of Case of the Gateway Express. It gets also to get to solve whenever you attack with the 3 or more creatures. It gets 2 damage to creature you don't control for each number of creature. And then this solve version will basically get you an anthem effect of +1/+0 to creatures you control. At the same time, with the Warley the Skull, it gets you a good anthem, glorious anthem effect, and at the same time the damage dealt whenever a creature enters the battlefield under your control. So that is basically the lineup, along with the Glyphful Demolition for the main deck. You can see here that this does not really make any kind of setup, as long as it's very consistent in its main strategy of convoking and making a lot of tokens to do a healthy chunk of damage to your opponent's life total. And you can see here also the new fix of this deck from Aetherdrift is your copies of Sunbillow Verge, which again gets you to produce red and white. And good thing is this is a white mana per se in the first turn, so it is also very important here that you can see that we have a lot of 1 mana white mana 1-drops, which of course the curve would be really helpful if you could be able to produce this kind of mana, and later on just use Inspiring Vantage for your red mana source fix. And let's check on the quick view of the sideboard. We'll see how this deck has also why I've chosen this kind of setup, wherein the sideboarding would be really straightforward. So let's discuss first with the lineup against enchantments, or maybe other shenanigans with the artifacts. It also goes with pumping your creatures. So we have 3 copies of Requisition Raid. This just can be spree later on, but early on you can just pay 2 to pump your lineup, or just destroy an artifact or destroy an enchantment at sorcery speed. So that's 3 copies. And we have here also 4 copies of Torch the Tower for any aggro matchups, especially the Gruul Prowess or the Gruul Mice settings, especially also to make sure that their dice effect would be nullified by this exile instead prevention or replacement effects. So 4 copies in the deck to make sure that we can be really consistent. For the control matchups, we have some of these choices. We have Invasion of Gobakan. It's also the battle. Could be make sure that you can check your opponent's hand. You can exile an unalloyed card from them, and then later on you get to tax it, and you know also that you can attack this to flip this into a Lightshade Array that can protect your creatures, and can also pump up to your end step by putting some counter on each creature that attack this turn. It's also very important creatures you control gain hexproof and inaccessible until the end of turn. And for the other choice here, there's a new card, Chandra Spark Hunter, for the mid-range and control matchups. The same way that can evade the sweep such as Sunfall, you can also create a bunch of army of 3/2 vehicles. This is of course can be crude, but of course at the same time you get to at least have a 3/2 creature that can attack with this trigger that at the beginning of combat, choose up to 1 vehicle you control, and at the end of turn it becomes an artifact creature with haste. And bonus also, you can pay +2 to sacrifice an artifact or discard a card and draw a card. So that's 2 copies in the sideboard for those control and mid-range apps. Along also for the domain matchups, we have Destroy Evil, which can destroy basically Order Overlords, Temporal Lockdowns, Leyland's Binding for this one, and can also get rid of Zur, because Zur has 4 toughness. And for the Graveyard Shenanigans, especially those the new Golgari decks, Golgari Roots, and also the Omni combo deck, we have copies of Rest in Peace to make sure that they can be exiled, and any effects that they place into the graveyard from anywhere, you get to exile them instead. And a Cologne copy here of Silver Ghost, just anything that you can get to exile another permanent. At the same time, it gets you to have this creature ward 2 and has +1/+0 and lifelink. So this is a good way also to have some random late game shenanigans from your opponent that you can be able to deal with in any land form, whether enchantments or planeswalkers or anything in between. So I guess that's his setup here. I think we still have a lot of options in terms of having the sideboard sorted out. In my opinion, also I have some of my personal choices, though I could not really cover all of the metagame decks. But since the Domain Overlord deck has won the last Pro Tour, so it may be that the other decks may have revolved around it to basically answer its threat, or maybe its advantages, and they would try to find some way to disrupt its game plan by also the adjustment in their sideboards against that deck. So I think this is pretty much our current deck project for Standard, which I personally did here. I had several choices, though all of which I can be able to play out in the physical or actual card form, but I have also some of my personal card choice, which I'm continuously testing and as to which one would be more efficient in terms of having this gameplay in the actual Friday Night Magic or Standard tournaments per se. So I guess that's pretty much it, guys. Thank you again for watching this video, and hello and welcome back. We have another recorded deck tech video for Standard, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and see you on the next video.